A state of emergency is in effect in California as crews race to respond to power outages, flooding, and mudslides. The storm system has claimed at least 2 lives, including a toddler. And this is the second so-called atmospheric river to sweep across the state in 1 week. And nearly 200,000 homes and businesses are still without power. Jonathan Vigliotti has more from Sacramento County.
The damage has already begun across the Bay Area and Central Coast, and for at least one family overnight, heartbreak.
We had a fatality up there of a minor.
The town of Occidental's fire chief, Ron Lenardi, described the events following a tree falling on the mobile home of a family of 3, killing a toddler.
When I first arrived on scene, a frantic father came out of the house holding the child, and he said, "My child's not breathing."
Lunardi went on to say paramedics were unable to revive the child. This night also saw rescues across the area, including a crew saving this man from the fast-running Los Gatos Creek in San Jose.
We anticipate that this may be one of the most challenging and impactful series of storms to touch down in California in the last 5 years.
Authorities are warning residents to stay indoors and off the roads unless ordered to evacuate.
They just said that we have to leave.
And for good reason. Following last weekend's storm, late yesterday, we witnessed one man discover his sister's car submerged in a Sacramento County vineyard. He told us he'd been searching for her for the past 3 days. Emergency crews arrived and recovered her body. At least 3 deaths have been linked to the holiday deluge.
With the saturation of the water, it's not going to take much to overwhelm communities.
So for more on these storms, Jonathan Vigliotti is standing by. So, Jonathan, just first off, what are conditions like right now?
Yeah, good morning to you, Anne-Marie. So we're in the town of Wilton. This is just outside the city of Sacramento. To give you some perspective, it rained the equivalent of a month's worth of rain in less than a 24-hour period of time. The levee system that was built to hold back the river, it was shattered during last weekend's storm, which is why you're seeing this incredible amount of flooding in this region. The water level here expected to rise as the morning continues. Rain an issue. It will pick up off and on throughout the day. High winds also an issue. 52-mile-per-hour gusts in this region. That's tropical storm force. We're also seeing the equivalent of that in San Francisco, where hundreds of thousands of people without power, a lot of downed trees. You saw in our story how one of those trees fell on a mobile home, 3 people inside. A toddler was killed during that incident. Meteorologists warned that this storm was going to be brutal. Already, obviously, it has been fatal for several people.
So what about evacuations? I mean, I'm looking where you are. I can see there's some lights sort of off in the distance. I can't imagine that people, can stay in their homes when it's like this.
Yeah, and yet they have. This area was under a mandatory evacuation during the weekend holiday storm. That evacuation was lifted a few days ago. I think there was a lot of confidence that the flooding wouldn't be nearly as bad as it was just a few days ago. With that said, people in this area are being told to, if they can, stay in their homes until the worst of the storm is over later on this evening. Elsewhere in Southern California, where wind gusts, by the way, up to 100 miles per hour, hurricane force, in the town of Montecito, that's near Santa Barbara, a community there was evacuated last night for fear of mudslides. That was an area that was impacted by a wildfire, a burn scar area there in 2018, where, if you recall, dozens of people were killed when there was a mudslide. So very much a concern of mudslides there. It's unclear at this point when those evacuation orders will be lifted.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, too, about just all these areas that have been burned and just don't have the foliage to sort of help soak up all of this water. Jonathan Vigliotti, thank you very much.
Thank you.